definitely. So we're gonna have a great night.
Yes.
Sebastian Suarez is in the house.
Come on, man.
Hey.
Oh, you got claps and everything. I've always wanted to like be the guy who has that button,
The
and it's
power.
just like "Wah, wah," or like or something dumb like that.
No worries. Hold on. Let me see if I got the. Nope. Nope.
There you go. I've always wanted to be that guy.
I love it. So if you tell some bad jokes, we can some dad jokes.
Oh my gosh. It just I have plenty of those. I can tell those all night.
Oh, I love it. Sweet man. Thank you for hanging out tonight. We have Joshua Roden already in the house.
Come
Let's
on,
go. I
man.
love this guy. I always bother him in his DMs.
Oh my gosh, I've gotten so bad. Once you have a kid, here's the thing. Once you have a baby, like everything else is like secondary. I don't even go to the gym anymore. Who am I? I don't have
Dang.
time for anything. I get home and I'm with a baby. So it's
How,
beautiful.
how true is that?
It's amazing.
I I've got 3 kids,
Oh
and so
wow.
they keep me super on my toes.
What are their
Um,
ages?
so Josiah is turning 10 next week,
Wow.
and then Abigail is 7, and Nathan is 5.
You should hit the round of applause button for yourself just right now. Just
My wife.
well, and your wife. Just my God, they're
Come on.
heroes. They're
Um,
heroes.
but it's good. Children are a blessing,
They are.
and it does make scheduling stuff like this challenging.
A little bit.
So we got a few other people tuning in. Martin, que grande este hombre. I'm not
Come on.
Spanish, so I'm just phonetically
Come on.
reading it.
Oh, I understood it. Thank you so much. I wish I
Uh,
could see like who was on here. I wonder if I can.
so yeah, you have to go to our YouTube channel to trek. Um,
Oh, it's fine. We're here. I'm
yeah,
sure you'll
and
you'll get
and
you'll keep me updated.
Miguel Francis says hi, and
What's up,
Martin
Miguel?
again. Te amamos, amigo. I love you,
Oh,
bro. Right?
I love you guys. I don't know who you are, but I appreciate you guys.
So it's good. Welcome officially. This is how we do it. Ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome officially to the Worship Drummer Hangout. And we got Sebastian Suarez in the house tonight from Upper Room. And we're going to talk drums. But first, and so we've been doing Worship Drummer Hangout. This is our third one. It's a once a month hangout where we just hang out as drummers, and we try to bring in a guest that I love, but obviously that the Worship Drummer family loves, and have some conversation. And this will turn into our audio podcast, by the way. And so we flipped the script where before I used to just do an interview and then publish it on an audio podcast and then try to, you
Oh
know, use Zoom video stuff
my
and post
God.
to YouTube. So we flipped the script. We're doing video first and we get to feature live questions. So how it's going to work is I've got a few questions for Sebastian, and we'll, as long as we go, probably 20 minutes or so in, you put your questions in the live chat, not in the comments of the video, but in the live chat. And then we'll get to them in about 20 minutes or so, if that's cool. And I mean, ask away. You can start
Yes.
putting them now, and we'll come back and check them in about 20 minutes. So, super stoked. This is actually our first time
Yeah.
interacting, I could say face to face. And
Yeah.
I remember a while back, I was like, man, I want to get you on the podcast. And here we are doing it on video first on YouTube Live. So,
Yes.
Super grateful for your time tonight. And I love starting off just getting to know you, and obviously everyone watching this, maybe they know your story. Not just like, oh, how did you get to play drums for Upper Room, but if you could take us, one level deeper and be
Yeah.
like, who's Sebastian Suarez? How did you get to playing drums maybe when you were younger? What was your upbringing like? And obviously, you can connect the dots to eventually how you're doing what you're doing today for us.
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, thank you so much, John, for having me. It's a pleasure. I actually remember like, oh, like it was like 20, my God, probably like 2013 or 14. I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. I was in high school. I did a drum cover of a Darlene Check song, and it somehow ended up on your, like, I think it was like the very beginnings of of
Oh,
Worship Drummer, but it was a website. I don't think even Instagram was a thing.
no. Is that where was it you walked into the room?
Yes, that's me.
No way.
And then I
Was it
remember,
da na na
yeah,
na
that's
na
me.
na 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 na
Yeah,
pa pa pa
bro.
pa.
Yep.
What's that song called? God is
Uh,
fighting for
it's
us.
that song, but I don't remember the name. I'm sure. It's
Shouting.
I can't remember the name for the life of me. But I remember like just hanging out one day in my like room, and I was like, I don't even know what I was looking up, but I saw it was on your website. And I was like, this is so cool. Like I have no idea what this is. So this is so cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Heck yes,
Um,
bro.
like I said, my name is Sebastian. I am 27. I'm happily married to my wife, Michaela, and we just had a baby boy. His name is Asaph, Sebastian Asaph Suarez.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Colombia and came to the United States when I was 4. Uh, Raised by a single mother who I love to death. She's my hero. Would do anything for that woman. But she's just always like believed in me and anything I wanted to do. I remember first season I wanted to play baseball, buy me a baseball bat. I wanted to be in the army, would get me for Halloween. I was an army man. Anything I wanted to do, she was always behind it. And obviously grew up in church as a kid. My uncle was a pastor, so I was kind of a PK.
Nice.
Um, but I just was always interested in drums and the drummer and why would the drum set was red and sparkly. And I remember it was our first Christmas in the United States. We were at Toys R Us and I saw this tiny little box with a blue drum set and I was like, that's what I want for Christmas, Mom. And granted, like we are like fresh in the United States, have no money, and she made a way. She's like, okay, that's what you're gonna get for Christmas. So that was my first drum set that I ever got. It was at the age of 5. And then it just kind of developed into a love of just drumming. I would always sit like close to the drums. Any church we were at, I was like, I need to be close to the drummer. I need to see what he's doing. And I was a kid, so like I mean, from the age of 5 to like about like I don't even know how old you are in 7th grade, probably like 12, 13.
Yeah, about
That's
there.
kind of when I started taking it seriously. I radically like met the like encounter. I think growing up in church, you can know about God, and then there's an appointed day where you are met by Him, and He says, "Hey, this is what I've called you for." So I was radically marked by God, the summer between 6th grade and 7th grade, and me and my 3 cousins just we just kind of like started playing music in our living room, in their living room actually. I would go over to their house, and it was during the summer, so we would just sit there and play music, and we just knew that we there's the only thing we knew about music is that God loved music and God loved listening to us play. And we would
Come
learn a
on.
song and then continue to play after the song, and we had no idea what we were doing. We probably sounded terrible. I was playing on a Yamaha electric kit that like has no sensitivity whatsoever. Everything is just loud. Like there's no like dynamics. It's just loud. So fast forward a little bit. So we ended up playing at my uncle's church, being the main worship team at his church, and at the same time we started attending a church here in Dallas called Covenant Church, and that's where David and Nicole Binion were at the time. My mentor, Daniel Lopez Dilo,
D'Lo.
mentored me. Yeah, Dilo's he's my another hero of mine. I go to him for anything. It's actually today I bought a new drum set, and I messaged him right before I bought it. I was like, "Bro, should I get this?" And he's like, "That's a good kit." I was like, "So
Like
I go to him."
legit today?
Yeah, today I text him all the time. Like he's like my man. I took drum lessons from him up until like he kicked me out. He's like, I have nothing else to teach you. You can't come here on Saturdays anymore. So it's kind of like a joke between me and he's like, get out, Sebas. I tell you everything.
So what did you buy? And then we'll get back to the story, but what did you
Yeah,
buy as a new kit?
I bought a Rogers vintage kit. I'm like really digging into the studio world right now and just learning all things studio. I'm in my studio right now. We bought a house last year, so I'm
Amazing.
just, bro, the studio world is a different kind of world. I mean, one thing is playing live and in a drum cage, but being in a studio exposes a lot about a player. And I'm just diving deep and don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if anybody knows what they're doing. We're just kind of all figuring it out at the same time. And we're like, oh, this works for me. This works for you. So I bought a Rogers kit and I told him, I was like, bro, should I get this? He's like, that's a good kit. So I'm excited for it.
Love it.
Um, but what was I saying? So
About D'Lo.
we ended up going to Covenant Church, and that's kind of like where we learned more of like the fundamentals of music and worship as well. But that's where kind of we like learned how to play to. I learned how to play to a click. I learned how to listen to a band. I learned how to flow dynamically, especially with David and Nicole Binion. They're just amazing people. But playing behind people like that, they just flow in worship, and you kind of have to be very sensible, and you have to like learn how to follow the spirit but also learn how to follow the worship leader and serve him well. So we were there for many years. I was on staff there for quite a bit, like probably like 7 years. I played aux drums there, which is a whole different story in regards to drumming.
Yeah.
And I remember my cousin one day we were like again like we just love Jesus, and we heard that Todd White was speaking at this church or this place. It wasn't even a church at the time. It was this place called the Upper Room, and the Upper Room had no address. It had no website. It was like an underground place. It was like we're going to this place, but we don't know where we're going. And mind you, we're in like high school. We're like kids. We don't have cars. We don't know how to get from the suburbs of Dallas to downtown Dallas. So it's like my friend's gonna take us. So we ended up going to this place called the Upper Room, and it was a strange place. It was like there's a green carpet. There was a guy on an acoustic and a drummer playing on a jazz kit that right after worship he packed up and left, and it was crazy. But the same feeling and the same presence that we felt when we got encountered when we were in middle school, we felt the same thing
Mm.
at that place at when we got to the Upper Room. It was just there's something about being there that we knew that we were supposed to be there. So we stuck around. We found out it was a prayer room. It was not just a church. It was a place of that wanted to do prayer sets and host prayer sets throughout the week. And we slowly started to get involved. And I mean, we just kept digging our roots there, and the rest is kind of history. We really didn't like we didn't show up to Upper Room because it was Upper Room. We showed up to
Right.
Upper Room because we felt God in that place, and I mean we're I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So I'm on staff there. I like help facilitate and help manage the prayer room. We have over 120 volunteers who do
Wow.
prayer sets 3 times a day. We do full team corporate prayer sets every day at 6 a.m. from 12 to 2, and then from 6 to 8 p.m. every day. So it's a big task, but it's an honor to be there. So that's kind of and a long story made short, but that's kind of who I am and how I got to where I got to.
That's so cool, man. So I think there are three things I want to kind of like land on from what you said. Um, aux drums, and we don't have to tackle them in that order, but
Gosh,
aux
yes.
drums, I think it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to talk about Surrounded, the song,
Yeah. I'm
and
sorry.
the iconic drum samples that you use.
Yeah.
And also, you can talk about Perks, what you and
Yes.
Ish have started up,
Yes.
because I think that's super cool that the Worship Drummer family, if they don't know about it, you guys need to check it out for drum
Yes.
samples. And one, two, and maybe the third one will come to me later.
Yeah. I
Because,
mean, yeah.
like spontaneous playing, learning to not be so scripted, like multi
Yeah.
tracks intro to,
Oh
and
my
and how to
God.
flow through those moments, especially if it's like a 2 hour set, like you described.
Yeah.
As a drummer, like you have to have vocabulary to,
My God.
dynamics, highs and lows, all of that. So you could take any order you want. So it was aux percussion, surrounded, perks, and then just
Okay.
flowing. And then I
Yeah.
think after that, we'll get to some questions in the chat. So again, for those just tuning in, we have a Q&A time coming up maybe in about 15 minutes. And so you can start dropping your questions in if you
Yeah.
have any in the
Yeah.
live chat.
So,
All right, it's all yours.
um, we'll talk about aux drums first because that's a really cool subject that is very dear to my heart. I remember listening to it was "We Will Not Be Shaken" by Bethel. And prior to that, like I don't think I had ever seen anybody do aux drums like they had, and they were able to incorporate two drummers who think completely different, uh, but they meshed together so well. And I like saw that, and I was like, how can I do that as best as I can? And at the time, I was part of the youth team at Covenant, and D'Lo, I mean, it was like when SPDSXs were like, they're cool, but like nobody's really using them. And he's like, bro, you need to get one. And I was like, okay, I'll get one. And then I kind of put it in my closet, never really looked at it. And then slowly, I think we started working on an album. And he's like, hey, I want you to play aux drums for this album and perks. And I'd never had a shaker in my life. I've never used a tambourine. And I'm like, cool, like let's do it. And man, playing aux drums will expand your vocabulary so much. It makes you think like a producer. It makes
Mm,
you not think about how drummers think, if that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
we're drummers, and it's good to think like a drummer, but it's also good to have the hat of a producer when you're playing in service or when you're in 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 the studio working on a song. It's really important to think about like how much room can I leave for the drummer to do what he needs to do here, and then how can I support that. So, and sometimes like as an aux drum player, you're just having a shaker in your hand and you're just shaking away for the whole verse, and you're just and it's not fun. But then if you really start to think about what you're doing, take away the shaker out of that verse and see what's going on in the song, and you're gonna be like, what's missing? And I think aux drummers are so underrated. And I tell every drummer that I know, I'm like, bro, think. Dilo told me this, so if he ever listens to this, he'll know what I'm talking about. There's three mindsets you should have as a drummer. It's the mindset of a worshiper, the mindset of a producer, and the mindset of an audio engineer. And I think playing aux drums incorporates all of that, and it makes you think so much different than when you're sitting behind the drums and how loud can I play and how fast can my chops be, and it helps you serve the song and serve the worship moment in general. So I mean, I can talk about aux drums all the time. There's so much that you can do with aux drums nowadays. Like John
Yeah.
Mark McMillan's album, my gosh, I don't even know who played. I think it was Al Sergel and somebody else, but they're just it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like an older album a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was an older album, and I think
What was that
Future
song?
Past is on there. But it's like there's just like the song is like gradually growing, but the drums are not doing that much, but they're just playing so well together, and
Yes.
it just it works. So if you're listening to this, I mean, dive in deep and learn how to shake a shaker and a tambourine and how to think about aux drum parts, and it just makes you think very differently.
Okay, so question then, when it comes to aux drums, how do you decide, okay, this is going to be a real tambo versus
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to sample it on my pad for
Yeah,
the,
for
how
sure.
how do you decide and land on those kind of decisions?
Well, kind of. Okay, so shakers and tambourines are meant to lift in music. They just help support and lift. So if I'm playing like a real, normally like on verses, like if it's a verse that's like kind of driving, I naturally like have a shaker. Now I'm normally playing drums at Upper Room. We don't have the bandwidth or the stage to have aux drums at Upper Room. But when I'm tracking a song for an album, I'm cautiously like, okay, right now I know I'm just playing 2 and 4, but underneath that I can have a shaker that's gonna be like helping out. I don't necessarily need to play the hi hat. And then even when I do a big chorus, like again, a tambourine is gonna help lift the song. I don't need to bash on the cymbals as hard. I can just kind of ride the cymbal and have the tambourine do the rest of the riding. So I think it's just depending. And now like sampling drums on a song like that just helps like create texture
Mm.
to music. So it's I know for a while it was the big tambourine that everybody wanted. I know Bethel started that, man. They like I don't even know what they did, but I've like tried to recreate that tambourine and I just don't know how. I tried my best on our perks pack, but it's just their tambourine is like I don't know. Maybe David Whitworth will one day just put it out there for the
Yeah.
world, but it's just such a good tambourine. But I know back then it was like all about the verb sounds and how much verb can you get on behind the snare, and it's just it adds texture. So right now I'm really into dry sounds, like just no verb and just seeing what comes out of just natural organic sounds. So I think SPDSX, to answer your question, it's just textured stuff, and then tambourines and shakers are meant to lift and support in certain sections of songs. So that's kind of the way I think.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So, okay, anything else on aux drums that you want to drop, or else we could go to the next part of the
I think we
question?
can move on from aux drums. What was the next one? I'm like
So surrounded like that
around it.
that
Okay,
that
let's talk.
classic drum sample intro, and for
Okay.
me it was like that sound was, I'm like, man, it's like so perfect. So
Yes.
maybe you could talk about that, but also, perks and what you and Ish developed and launched.
Yeah. Yeah. So surrounded was actually a spontaneous moment. If you there's two videos on YouTube. There's like the surrounded moment that was like the original, like the first time I had ever heard this song, and then there's like the one that we did at one of our conferences where we actually recorded and worked on it. But the first time I ever heard surrounded was during a service after preaching. Uh, our pastor told our worship leader, I forget what he told her, but she just started singing this chorus. This is how I fight my battles, and I mean, honestly, when that moment came out, I was like, this is so embarrassing. Like, I sped up, like, because it was really slow, and then she wanted it faster, but she really wanted to go. It was like the best train wreck you could ever think of is Surrounded. And then when we actually, like, she finished writing the song and we went into the studio and started working on it, I remember my cousin Oscar had like started chopping up the sample, and he's like, "Yeah, we should use this," and I was like, "Great, let's do it." And so Oscar actually helped me make that sample. If not, he made it himself. But bro, he's just a wizard with Ableton, and he knows so much. Like Oscar Gamboa is crazy with. He's a crazy producer in general. He produces all of our albums, but he made that sample, and I mean, he was gracious enough to let me put it on my perks pack, and the rest is history. Now, Ish and me and my other friend Brandon, we did start a sample company in 2020 when we were all bored and just couldn't leave the house. And I feel like that's when all these musicians are like, "What can I do?" It's like I'm gonna start making videos. I'm gonna start da 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 da. Everybody's making something. I'm gonna start posting more videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
We decided we're like, bro, we have so many samples. I mean, I had just because I was working with Dilo and I had a catalog of samples that I just had collected over the years, and so had Ish, and then we made a few new ones. I mean, I remember Ish came over to my house and we were hitting anything and everything that we could. We would like find our water bottle and just and put whatever on it, just destroy the sound. And we just released our own SPDSX pack, and we called it One Shot 001. And we added some of the samples that I had used and some of the samples that Ish had used, and then we incorporated some new ones. And we're like, wow, this went actually really well. The heart of it is to be a blessing to others and not just to keep our resources to ourselves, but just to truly just
Love it.
help others. And normally, like, you buy a sample pack and it's like, great, I got a sample, but I'm gonna like work on it, put in Ableton and distort it, and put verb on it. And we were just like, bro, let's cancel that and let's just give them what we have, and it's already ready to use, ready for use. And that's kind of how we came up with the idea, and then just started expounding on that. And then we released our own sample packs, with like our actual snare samples, our trigger presets, our loops. I mean, we wanted something simple that people can use. I mean, producing music is sometimes you just want a simple groove, but you can't really find it on
Yeah.
Splice. And I was just like, bro, let's just do it. Let's take a week, let's track, and then let's put it out there. So obviously now having babies, it's been a little bit harder to like find time to like go to the studio, track, and put out stuff, but we're still on the works. We have actually a few projects on the works right now, so it's really exciting times.
I love it. So people can check it out at perks.live, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
perks.live. Yes, sir.
Do it. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, trust me. I listen. You will not be disappointed. And
Yes.
if you are, I'm sorry.
Mon-
Bad
money
joke.
money back guarantee. No.
Yes.
Um very cool. So let's talk for a minute. By the way, if you have any questions, I haven't seen any specific ones come in. So if you have questions for Sebastian that you want me to ask him, drop them in the live chat right here on YouTube, and we'll get to them in a couple of minutes. Yeah, let's talk spontaneous moments.
Yeah.
And like you talked about 6 a.m., 12, and then was it 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
So, as a drummer, what is your approach? How like what's kind of in your tool bag of, dynamics, all of these things
Yeah.
to make it through, and some advice for drummers who maybe their worship team is starting to get into some more spontaneous moments, but maybe it's like pulling teeth a little bit with,
Oh.
their vocabulary.
Trust me, man. The first time I ever played a 2 hour set, I remember our pastor, Michael Miller. This is not drum related, but it correlates to drumming because I believe that you have to show up when you're playing drums, regardless with your heart, before you show up with your parts and all this stuff. Like, you have to play from a place of knowing who you are in God and knowing what you carry as a drummer. So, I remember we did a 12 to 2 prayer set on Tuesdays. That was my set for a really long time. And one of the first sets we did, he asked the whole team. He's like, "Hey, what did God say during the set? Like, what was He speaking?" And I mean, Holy Spirit is speaking. Our God is alive, and I knew that, but I didn't know that with my heart.
Mm,
And when he said that, I was like, why is he saying it like if God is like actually in the room? And I thought that in my mind. And then I got convicted. I was like, he is in the room. Like, of course. So that changed my perspective as a drummer coming into a 2 hour set from now I'm not passively playing, but I'm engaging in the set and I can play from a place of excitement. I can actually encounter what is being sung and said and go there musically as well. So I would say the first thing is like engage your heart while you're playing. It's gonna bring longevity to the set overall, and you're not gonna play from a place of just being stagnant. You're gonna actually encounter, and it's gonna translate in your playing. Um, I tell our drummers this all the time at Upper Room. I believe we have like 12 or 15 drummers, I think,
wow.
and I tell them all the time, I'm like, guys, we need to engage and listen to what the worship leader is singing and what they're praying, and just engage with what Holy Spirit is saying. Like, listen with yes, your ears, but the ears of your heart. Like, what is Holy Spirit speaking to me? Like, what if you're supposed to lead in a moment? And that's gonna change your perspective from just a drummer to now I'm actually a worshiper playing on a set. And that you could do that. I mean, it's not just prayer room specific. Like,
Right.
I believe that's how you should play, even if you're playing at a church. That it is the intro, two, three, four. I think it's like it's so important to show up that way. I tell our drummers too that the ones that do play on Sundays, I'm like, hey, before we're like, yes, let's learn our parts, let's show up in excellence, but let's learn the lyrics as well to these songs that we're playing. Because if you're gonna engage with, like, if I'm gonna believe that God is good and you are good, then I need to know that and play that and declare that with my own heart, as well. So I would say that engage your heart. It's gonna translate completely in your playing. As far as dynamics goes, my God, this one's it's there's okay. So worship music, there's a lot of building, there's a lot of toms, there's a lot of everything. It's like big drums all the time. It's like worship
Yeah.
drummers is just big drums, and I've kind of wrestled with this a little bit because I'm like, what? How can I explore drumming without going to my comfortability of just building all the time, especially on a 2 hour set? And I've learned that it's okay to make mistakes in spontaneous music. I've learned that it's okay to take risks. That the worship leader, at least at my at upper room, I'm thinking of Joel Figueroa. He's one of our worship leaders. I do a 6 a.m. prayer set with him on Wednesday. So
Wow.
tomorrow at 5:30, I'm gonna be at upper room in the morning, and we're gonna be playing a set together, and he wants me to take risks. He doesn't just want me to play a song. He wants me to explore the drums, and I think that's something so not said enough. Like, we need to be able to explore an instrument and have fun with it. Play with your eyes closed when you're practicing, and just get a feel for what the drums are doing. How do drums respond? That's gonna take you out of the mindset of, okay, I know what I'm gonna do here, and in a few bars I'm gonna do the same thing again, and then in a few bars I'm gonna do the same thing again. But really exploring what the drums can actually do, the power behind the drums is, I mean, if the worship leader wants to go up and you come down, you're coming down. It doesn't matter. And if they want to go up and you're coming, like, you're it's like you have so much control of the dynamics in the room. So knowing the power behind what the drums do and how they respond in a spontaneous moment is so crucial. Like, yeah, learning how to layer before and learning how to listen to the actual music and what's going on musically is so important. Like, I think of it as like sections of what they're singing. So if one worship leader is singing a chorus, okay, that's section A. If another worship leader singing another chorus, spontaneous chorus, because it happens a lot, that's section B in my mind. So
Yeah.
section A, I might be like layering to get to section B, and then section B is gonna another layer is gonna happen, and then I'm gonna get to section A again. So just taking your time too. There's so much to learn, and I'm no expert at it. I'm no better than anyone. I just like to take risks, and like I'm encouraged to take risks from my worship leader, and my musicians, and there's that trust there. So if I step out, they're gonna back me up, and when they step out, I'm gonna be there for them and back them up.
Wow. That's like a master class on
I know. I feel like I
spontaneous
said so
playing.
much, and I don't even know what I said, but I said everything I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's awesome, man. Um, and did you guys just release some more music recently? Was it
Yeah, we
last
just
week?
yeah, we on Friday we released another Moments album. So we do kind of a lot at Upper Room. We release corporate albums that we like write songs to and then like actually track and work on.
Yeah.
And then we have spontaneous moments that we like have impacted our house, have impacted us. Just moments that like are just archived in our from our prayer sets, from our Sunday gatherings, from whenever. So we did just release a Moments album, and I believe the plan is to release once a month a Moments album. So every
Wow.
month there's gonna be a Moments album. So that's a lot of it's a lot of music that's gonna be coming out. But it's really like it's nothing. It's not like we wake up on Sunday morning. It's like today we're gonna record how he loves into jealous, and that's gonna be a moment. It's literally I remember actually the week before that, like actually 2 days before, one of the songs that made it on the album is how he loves, and there's another song that's called jealous, and it's like a spontaneous like thing that we did, and I don't even remember. But I had just gotten in a car accident. I wasn't even gonna play that week, and I was just like,
Wow.
man, I'm like my shoulders hurting, and I ended up playing, and I was like, man, this was such a good moment. I remember leaving that, and I just kept thinking about it. So the fact that they put it on one of our moments albums is really special to me.
Come on. That's
Yes.
so cool. We do have some questions now that are coming in.
Yeah.
Before we get to them, um, just a question for you. Like, can you give us a glimpse? Like, what's a day in the life of Sebastian like? And you
Oh
could
my
pick
gosh.
any day of the week. Any day of
Yeah.
the week.
Okay, so like I'll give you for an example. So I'm on staff at Upper Room. I work there. I help like facilitate what happens. Obviously in the prayer room. That's kind of my role is associate prayer room director. So on a normal like Monday or Tuesday, like today I woke up at like 7:30, got my son ready, and my mom stays with us Monday and Tuesdays to help with the baby while my wife works. So I got him ready, and I got myself ready, and I had a meeting at 9 a.m. about just what's going on in the prayer room, if there's any changes, any updates, if there's people moving, if whatever, any updates. And it's from 9 to 9:45. At 9:45, I have my prayer set, and it's a Spanish prayer set. It's from 10 to 12. So I went. We do pre-briefs where we just meet up and talk and make sure we're all on the same page. And then we did our 2 hour set, which was really powerful today. So if you want to stream it, I mean, it's on our YouTube. You can go stream it. But it was really special today. After that, we do our corporate staff set, which is from 12 to 2 on Tuesdays. And that's where all of our staff gets together and we're do a corporate prayer set. So I'm really in the prayer room for 4 hours on Tuesdays.
Wow.
And then after that, I mean, there's a lunch break. I go back to the office and just answer any emails, connect with any drummers, any prayer leaders, any worship leaders, anyone who needs anything, make sure that everything's taken care of. Then today, I mean, I'm also helping produce an album for a church out in Miami with my cousins. I have three cousins, Julian, Oscar, and Gabriel, and they're like pretty much my brothers. And they all play at Upper Room. It's kind of like weird. We're like four guys. We all play different instruments, and we all play at Upper Room. But we're producing
So
an
cool.
album for a church out in Miami. And I came home and I worked on that. And then I was on baby duty and was taking care of my baby. We went to go to the grocery store and pick up a few things for dinner. Made
Love
dinner
it.
real quick and then realized that I didn't have enough time and I made it here. So that's kind of like what a day in the life of my life looks like. If not, I'm tracking drums here. I'm in my studio. It's kind
Ooh.
of like a fun little setup, and I have more toys and drums, and yeah, it's fun. Again, getting into the studio world is completely different, but my God, it's so much fun.
Nice. Real quick, what drums are those? What cymbals do you play? And what overhead mics are you
Yeah.
using?
So this is a Vistalite Ludwig kit that I got from a friend of mine. Um, and that overhead mic is so, which one is it? That one right there. It's so low. I was tracking guitars the other day and I had to mess with it, so don't judge me. But this is a Ludwig Vistalite kit. It's a 22-inch kick, 13 by 9 rack, 16 by 16 floor. This in front of it, here, I'll take it out so that way you can see it.
Yeah.
This is a vintage, it's a vintage Slingerland kick that I got from a website for like 200 bucks.
Wow.
And it just has so much low end. So I put it in front of the kick to like get a lot of low end out of this room. Cymbals, I mean, this is kind of my studio setup. That's a Istanbul Jazz Ride, a 30th anniversary Istanbul, and then traditional hats. That's a Franklin snare that they so graciously sent to me after we did the Maverick recording.
Nice.
And then I have another I have a baby blue Franklin kit. somewhere around here. But oh, and the overheads, those are Coles. So those are Cole mics. And yeah, there's just so much random gear in here. I mean, you in the studio world, you realize that you will always have something to buy,
Yeah.
whether it's a cable or a new drum set or I need a new mic. I want to try these. Like, there's always something to buy. So I mean, I'm always. I mean, today I bought a drum set, and
There
my
you
God,
go. What color is the new one, by the way?
it's black. It's kind of like Paul
Ooh.
Mayberry's. So it's not
Yeah.
exactly, but I was like, man, I want Paul Mayberry's drum set, and I mean, I pray it sounds like it.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. I love it. Thanks for just giving us a glimpse into your studio. So we'll get to some of your questions now. Just quick rundown of people tuning in. Hey, Pow. Colin Tate from C3 Church in Ohio. What's up?
Come on.
We have Misael Iniguez, Tim Aston Music. So, and Jose Perez. Okay, so let's jump into some questions, and you take as long as you want, or you could be
Yeah,
as succinct as you need to be.
I'll do it.
Um, how do you get your snare sound with a 8x14 snare? There's a video I think on that, eh?
Yeah. So on my Instagram, I posted a video on how I tune my snare. And grand like snare tone is like a huge subject in the worship world. It's like the mix could sound like booty, but if the snare sounds right, then man, this mix sounds
Yeah.
amazing. So it's like how I get my snare tone. I don't like typically like if you wanted me to like give you like a secret, I don't think there is a secret. I will give you advice on how to get a good snare tone, and that's communicate with your audio engineer. It's not said enough. Like you and the audio engineer need to be like best friends. The audio engineer that I love is his name is Brandon, and he works at Upper Room. I mean, he sees all my flaws, and I remember something D'Lo actually taught me is to just think like an audio engineer. So I took that and I said, "Hey, Brandon, what do I need to do to my snare for it to sound good out in front of house?" And he's like, "Hey, tune it up. Actually, tune it back down. Hey, don't hit so hard and be consistent with your hits. Maybe let's try to put an O-ring thingamabobber on it." And granted, I took that from Whitworth. I just looked at what he did, and I was like, "Oh, he has an O-ring and a moonjaw, and I'm gonna do that." And I was like, "Okay, that kind of works." But even if you do that, you still have to know how to tune a snare.
Yeah.
So funny enough, we were doing an event with Bethel in Portland, and I let them borrow my snare, and I was like, "Yeah, you guys can borrow my snare, go for it." And
Tune
they had
it.
tuned, yeah, they tuned my snare for me. Like they used it. Obviously, they tuned it. I was like, "Do whatever you guys want to do." And they tuned it, and the guy who their audio engineer tuned it for the drummer, and it was tuned a little bit high for my preference. Sounded great, but for me, it sounded a little high, and I just took the the tuning thing, and I tuned it a little bit down, and I remember like I just hit it one time, and everybody did this, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's what I want my snare drum to sound like. So pretty much what I do in that video is I tune it really high. I get all the tension. Oh my gosh, why can't I? The tension rods? Is that what
Yeah.
they're called? I get them all even to uh, to a certain pitch or whatever. I don't use a tune bot. I really wish I did. That way I could be more specific with people. But I tune it really high. I give it two full turns, and then I just pick which one I think is the highest, and then I tune to that one. And then once I get it all in tune, I take it down like half a turn all the way around, and that'll get you the snare sound that I think is good. I'll and then if it's still too high, I'll take it down more. I'll ask Brandon. I'm like, "Hey, how does it sound out there?" He's like, "Bro, it sounds great." Or he'll tell me, "Hey, can you tune it down a little bit more?" He always tells me to tune it down because I like my snare a little bit higher. He's like, "Bro, just turn it down a little bit." I'm like, "Okay, I'll die to myself. I'll tune it down." So that's my best advice on how I get my snare sound is talk to your sound engineer and work together. I mean, he's on your team and you're on his team. Don't y'all aren't separate. Y'all are together as a team. And that's watch my video. That's how I tune my snare, and it works for me.
Love it. And the reso head. Um,
Yeah.
how important is that compared to the
It's
top?
very important. I actually crank it. I crank it and I do the same thing. I'll crank it and I'll check the tension rods and whichever's highest, I'll go to that one. Now you don't want it to be too tight for it to break, but like if your snare sounds boxy, it's
Yeah,
because the bottom head is not tight enough and the snares aren't sizzling enough. So just
sizzling. Love it.
yes, tune it up and then you'll get the snare sound that you want.
Sweet. That's a great answer. Another, okay, Samuel, how do you get the drums to sound so good? So that was the snare. Any other advice for the rest of the kit? Your
Yeah,
toms?
I mean, For for a floor tom, I think floor tom and kick are pretty similar. I just finger tight and then kind of like a little bit. I don't really like tune it really high up. And if there's any like weird sound that I'm hearing, like overtones, I'll like try to take them out, either with gaff tape or with an O-ring. Rack tom is one that I like don't ever really understand yet. I right now what I'm doing is I'm tuning them the same bottom and top, and now if that's not giving me the result that I want, then the bottom head I'll like try to go up or down or try to figure something out. But that's kind of what I do. For kick drum, I just do the same thing, finger tight and then tune a little bit and then it'll give me the sound that I want. But I don't yeah, it just and also every drum is so different. There's so different. There's so many different methods to this stuff. Like man, you listen to Aaron Sterling and his drums, and my gosh, I mean, I bought his master class, and he's like, "This is how I make a really bad drum sound good," and I'm like, I know nothing. So it's like I know things, but then I don't know anything at all. So take
Mm,
everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm learning as well.
I love it. Okay, Matt Roland or Roland asks, "How do I keep my builds fresh? I'm finding myself doing the same build-ups every bridge to chorus."
Yeah, I think, man, that's something that we all are gonna feel at some point. I remember when I felt stuck in building and I felt like I just do the same thing. Especially, I mean, in my position, I play 2 hour per sets. I'm like I've done this for 3,000 times. I would say just experiment and try different things that you're uncomfortable with, and they might work and they might not work, but at least you're trying and you're experimenting and you're uh, just trying different things. Kind of going back to what I was saying earlier is just understanding your drums and being comfortable with your drums. And maybe it's a season that you need growth and you need drum lessons. I took drum lessons for like 10 years, 7 years, and literally got kicked out of my drum lessons because I was there so much. So if you feel stuck, like put yourself in a position where you are going to be uncomfortable and it's not going to be easy, and that's good. I remember learning music and it was uncomfortable, and I think that's another thing that is not said enough is being uncomfortable is actually good and it puts you in positions where you're going to grow. So if you feel stuck in any area, I would just encourage you to, I don't know, learn a new song, learn something that's going to make you uncomfortable, and then try that in your worship set, and then try building that way, or listen to other, like I went to a concert, a Kings of Leon concert, and it was so funny. I was listening to their music and I was like, wow, I would naturally, right now, as a worship drummer, I would build there. But he was playing a really cool groove and it made the music feel good. And I think it's like only in worship drumming and Christian music that we build for everything. But like if you listen to other records and other albums, it's like experiment with the drums and see what you can get out of it. So make yourself uncomfortable. Try new
Yeah,
things.
that's cool. And to add to that, because I preach, I'm a lead pastor these
Wow, that's
days,
amazing.
but what intrigues me a lot is in communicating, which I'm gonna tie to how we phrase things on the drums. It's like when I hear a preacher say something, I go, "Oh, that was really cool." I would have said like, "This is how I speak in this kind of a phrase," and they kind of flipped it the other way around.
Yeah.
Bad example maybe, but it's like,
No.
I'm gonna go to the store, right? And then someone else would say, "To the store I am going."
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh. There's
Yeah.
there's a different way to phrase something. So when I listen to music, um, and like you kind of said, the Kings of Leon stuff, especially gospel,
Oh my gosh.
like I'll hear some phrases. I'm like, how in the world do they think of like that? Putting that hit right
Yes.
in the middle of this fill or
And you know
these.
what's crazy about that too? That fact that you're talking about vocabulary too. Music is like it's like if you listen to not you actually made me think of what I think of during spontaneous moments. I listen to lyrics and
Yes.
I'll listen to the phrasing and the cadence and what they're singing. And again, not to bring up Joel again, our worship leader, or even Alyssa, or any of our worship leaders, but the way that they sing things provokes something in me, and I'm attentive to what they're saying, and I'll mimic what they're saying sometimes, or I'll play melodies with my cymbals, or I'll
Yes.
just do random things that I'm hearing as they're saying things, and I'll just try it on the drums, and I'll literally play their phrasing, what they're saying on the kit, and that'll be a build, or that'll be a layer that I can add to get to a build. But now you're starting to think differently.
Yeah. So a good example of that is Carrie Job Forever. The ground began to shake. And
Yeah.
like I remember playing that, I was like, vroom, like giving the
Yeah.
ground began to shake and then building from
Yes.
there.
Yes.
I think my wife, I asked her, I'm like, there has to be a word for that where the rhythm matches the word. I
Yeah.
think it's called an onomatopoeia.
No way.
I could be totally wrong. So someone in the comments, you could
Somebody
correct
fact check
me.
him.
An
Because
onomatopoeia,
if that's what it is, my God, I've heard that word
where
so many
yeah,
times.
it's where like a sound mimics the word or the definition of the word, something like that.
That's crazy.
So okay, cool. So that's some ideas for how you can build. Let's go to Pao says, what type of compression do you use in your drum set for worship? Compression. I'm not sure if you're talking about like compression dialing it in or
Yeah.
if it's like dampeners on the drums.
Okay, I can talk about both. As far as dampening the drums right now, I mean, in the studio, I mean, I since my mind is in studio world, like there's so many things you can dampen it with your phone, a, a rag. There's so many things that you can do to it. You could just gaff it up and make dead sounds. Uh, as far as actual drum compression, now again, I'm like no like expert on any of this, so again, anything I say, take it with a grain of sand. Uh, and I don't even know if I feel comfortable talking about it because I don't know much. So I would just say look up on YouTube how to compress drums and give it your best shot. I know that there's great compressors out there
Yeah.
for drums. It just again like I bought this compressor and I'm gonna butcher the name. It's by Baby Audio. It's called a tape compressor,
Hmm.
and it's a great compressor. I know this is like very nerdy. Like this is when you get my wife the other day. She's like, "Wow, you're really digging deep," and I'm like, "I'm a nerd right now. I'm like buying all sorts of stuff." And so I bought that compressor, and it works really well.
Is it
I love it.
analog or digital?
Oh, it's a plug-in. You
Oh
could
yeah,
just
yeah.
you can buy it, and I don't have any outboard gear. I wish I had outboard gear, but I also just had a baby, so there's no way that I can buy. There's another compressor that I bought, and it's by Baby Audio too, but I do not know the name, and I don't want to mess with my computer to try to find it. But
Yeah, no, you're good.
yeah, so I would just look up uh, I honestly buy Aaron Sterling's masterclass, and he talks about processing drums and a bunch of it. So if you, I don't know because I'm learning and I don't feel comfortable saying what I know because it could be so wrong. But I would just encourage you to look up YouTube videos and buy master classes and take mixing courses. It's the best thing you can do, and also ask your audio engineer.
Come on. Good. Okay, let's move on because we got about like 7, 8 questions left.
Let's do it.
If we need to go and you got baby duty,
Oh,
then
bro, chilling.
you tell me. So, um, okay, here's an interesting question, Miguel. Any good affordable cymbal recommendations?
Affordable. My God. Okay. So I love Istanbul symbols. I have been tempted to Istanbul symbols because of the price, But honestly, like I and to each their own. Everybody plays their own cymbals. Zildjian is a very good company.
Yeah.
Istanbul is a very good company. Heartbeat is a very good company. Uh, as far as affordability goes, I would almost like fight back and say is would you rather just save up a little bit more and get what you want, or do you want to just get something can afford, which granted other people are in different places financially, but I mean a heartbeat is a great option for affordability's sake. Granted, you can buy like Istanbul cymbals that are cheap, that are actually really good. Like the Exist, it's like 200. It's like a 22 in Exist is $200,
Oh
and
wow.
I really want to get that actually. Granted, the Joey's like $700, so that's really expensive, and but like I mean, Heart is a great cymbal company, and they're a great cymbal company, so but yeah, I would say get what you want and truly commit to that. If you love Heartbeat, play Heartbeat. I love Istanbul. I it's just they just sound great. Like I can't. I've tried everything and I've tried to not like Istanbul, but it's just hard.
Oh, that's good. Good answer. Okay, next question from Misael. Blessings, Sebastian. Love that y'all are doing this. My question is, have you ever experienced numbing in your hands when you play, or any warm-ups you would recommend before a set?
Yes. Yes to both. My wife is gonna like actually like kill me for this because she's like, you need to stretch, you need to stretch, and now I'm holding a baby like for like 3 hours nonstop, and you're like right here in your forearms. You're
Yeah.
like, I didn't know that I'm gonna feel the pain, but you do. So get ready for when you have a baby. But just in general, I think stretching before you start. I don't do enough of it, but also sitting correctly on the drum set, like not just like I think Dave Elich talks about this is like posture behind a kit, like sitting upright, like feeling loose, make sure that you're comfortable, and everything needs to be exactly where you like. You shouldn't like have to like reach your hand over to hit the cymbal, like it should just be here, and that's where you should be playing. That's helped me out a lot. Honestly, posture more than stretching has helped me uh, not get carpal tunnel. If I'm uncomfortable when I'm setting up, I'm gonna play so uncomfortable, and the next day,
Mm,
I'm gonna feel it all in my shoulders and my back. So, I mean, stretching, I mean, just normal stretching would help. But more than anything is making sure that your setup is comfortable for you, not just cool looking and like comfortability over look all day, in my opinion.
yeah.
Unpopular opinion, maybe, but yeah.
No, it's good. Thanks for that answer. Tim just says, "Love your heart and drumming, Sebastian."
Oh, thank you, Tim.
So Jose Perez asking, what would be a good affordable snare drum below $700? That's a pretty good budget.
Okay, so I mean, if you have $700 for a budget, you have a real good budget. First of all, my friend. Below 700, again, I'm not a plugging kind of person, but Dallas Drum has a really good snare drum. It's my snare drum. It's this 8 by 14 brass snare drum. It's the same snare drum that everybody uses. It's 650, so if that's like more on the higher range of your $700, I mean, if you can afford it, 650 is a great snare drum. I've used it on tons of albums. I've traveled the world with it. I will never sell it. I love it. It's great in the studio, great live. Another really on the lower like price ranges, I think it's like 350, maybe 400 max is the Black Magic. It's the same thing. It's a great snare drum. Now if you like on there's no bad snare drums. Here's the thing. I mean if you have a crappy snare drum then even then like Aaron Sterling blew my. So like even like an acrolite, it's 250 bucks. It's not the 8 by 14 snare drum, but it's a cool snare drum. So it just depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Um, Again, Dallas drum is a great option if you have $700 and you want to save $50. Or the Black Magic is great. Black Beauty's great. That one's like in the middle, I think. I don't really know, but those are all great snare drums.
Great, great answer. Okay, so another question. How do you decide whether aux drums will be included in a meeting? Just special meetings with more space? That's the
Aux
question.
drums. Yeah, I think like we did a Spanish album last year, 2 years ago, last year. Yeah, last year, and I think we wanted to incorporate another texture live. So it just depends on what kind of vibe you're going for, who's involved. If you're recording an album, what the producer's feeling, and what the worship leaders and everybody else is feeling. But like even for the Maverick City album, we did a album with them and we collaborated. Me and HB, we I played aux drums and he played drums, and it was such a like literally before days before it's like, hey, you're playing aux drums. No, we're not playing aux drums anymore. Actually, you're playing aux drums, and I was like, great, I'm playing aux drums. So it was, I think for that album, that's a great example. Is we just decided, hey, HB and I are gonna go for it, and it was so fun working with him. He's that was like the coolest experience ever because he's such a pocket drummer, especially on the album that we did, um, that I could just serve him well. That was my goal.
That's
And that's the
cool.
scary part with aux drums is that drummers can't, like, if you're playing aux drums on an album, you cannot think like the drummer. You have to think the opposite of the drummer. It's like, how can I support him well and get out of his way? So working with HB was amazing. I loved getting to serve him and just vibing with him, honestly. So it just depends on if there's space and if there's room for it and if that's what you guys are going for.
It's cool. It's cool. Shout out to Steven Verbo watching from the Philippines.
My wife is Filipino, so
Oh,
half Filipino.
nice.
Yes.
And I think they were hit with a typhoon in the north a few
Oh,
days ago.
I think
So,
so. We gotta be praying for the Philippines.
Steven, hope you're all right, man.
Yes.
And let me just see if there's one more question we'll take.
Let's
All right,
see.
this is an easy one. And then I'll end with one of my questions. So, what type of drum cage do you have at Upper Room?
Okay, drum cage. My God. Okay, drum cages. I love slash hate drum cages. Just me personally, because I might go on a little tangent for 2 seconds. I think drum cages have I see the purpose behind it, but I think it's also hindered drummers to actually be able to play to rooms. And like now we're just bashing cymbals and playing loud 24/7. Like Al Sergel, I saw a video of him playing at Dwell Church where Dilo plays drums at now. He was playing outside the drum cage, and he can play in any room, small, big, medium, and he will not overplay. And I just think it's important for us as drummers to learn to play to rooms and be aware of people's ears and just that whole thing. So I love drum cages slash hate them because I hate being in a secluded thing that gets hot, and it's just especially in Texas. My God.
Yeah.
But I think we have, I don't even know, a Goblin enclosure G2. It's one of my friends. He makes drum cages, and we reached out to him, and he made it for us. So kindly. But it's a great drum cage. Um, it works well for our room, but I sometimes it gets so hot in there, man. My God, you have like two fans because it's too hot.
Wow.
It's dry heat in Texas. I don't know how
Yeah.
it is in Canada, but
Cold right now, at least.
exactly. So it's like you're like, oh my gosh, it feels good in here. Over here, it's like if you don't get me out of this cage, I am gonna. It's like hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeesh.
slash hate drum cages.
I hear ya. Okay, cool. Well, let's end on this last question, which I love to end pretty much every interview I've ever done, which is simply this: what's one word of advice, piece of wisdom? It could be practical for drumming or it could be spiritual.
Yeah,
But what's one thing you want to leave with our worship drummer family tonight as we wrap up this hangout?
yeah, I love that you do that. I tend to go more spiritual because drumming is secondary.
Yeah.
So I would say plant yourself, uh, wherever you are right now. say plant yourself and dig deep roots in your community, at your church, serve the church as best as you can, and you'll see the fruit. I think oftentimes, especially in our day and age, I wanted things quick. I wanted things to just happen for me, and it wasn't until I actually learned that when I plant myself, like I did at Covenant, and when I planted myself at Upper Room now and day, like it just the fruit of it is evident when I submit myself to our leaders at
Mm.
Upper Room, when I'm able to serve uh, with the vision of the house and co-labor with our pastors, and it's just you see the fruit in your life, and I think it's so important to serve uh, the place where you're serving versus try to take from it. So I would just say plant yourself and truly serve, and you'll see the fruit. You'll find your wife, and then you'll marry her, and you'll have
Come
beautiful
on.
babies, and you'll end up doing what you love. So yeah,
Amazing.
plant yourself.
Amazing. Sebastian, thanks for that word too. Um, how can we trek with you outside of just this hangout tonight? If you want to drop your Instagram handle for us so we
Yeah,
can
yeah, for
keep
sure.
tabs.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is at sebas.space. You can follow me there. You'll see all my baby pics, and I'm trying to really. I'm past this recording album that we're producing. I'm gonna be posting more videos on YouTube and just on Instagram. I want to be more active. Just baby season is real.
Yeah,
So and just follow our perks account and keep an eye out for all of our samples that we're gonna be releasing and loops, and we're gonna try to do a lot more stuff. So just super excited, John. Thank you so much for having me.
for sure. All right. As we wrap this up, I just want to say thank you, Sebastian. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We love you. And we end every episode by saying, always remember to keep the heart before the beat. God bless you guys.